Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as usual, we'll go over the market, go over Tesla, and just talk about more or less what has happened to finish off this week. And yeah, so as usual, if you guys enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. It does help a lot. And if you find these videos helpful, I guess, whatever. And you know, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Make your own decisions, do your own research, all that good stuff. But let's just jump right into it. The market's closing in just under 5 minutes. Tesla looks like it'll be closing around 197. We'll say rather 198-ish dollars, which is going to be up about 3.7% for today. So let's just get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. So far playing out kind of what we said, right? One of the main paths that I talked about, how, you know, there's an absolutely very real possibility that we come up to retest this breakdown can happen. And, you know, and I said how if it gets to 200, I'll be exiting my sold puts, which I did. I kept one as a runner, but I exited the other ones, and I'll look to buy back maybe Monday or something like that. But so that was a nice little trade for me. But we did talk about how it's going to come up to most likely retest this general level of, you know, of a breakdown, which it is currently doing. And it is currently, you know, it's I wouldn't say it's completely failing. I mean, you know, we'll see how it actually fully closes once the market does actually close. But it's like, you know, it's pretty damn close to arguably failing, right? We'll see. It's on thin ice once again. It is actually trying to reclaim it. You can see, so it did get back into it on the 1 hour, and then it did get like pushed back under, but then it got reclaimed by the bulls recently. So, you know, the bulls are trying, man. I have to say the bulls are absolutely trying here. So this is, you know, interesting. It makes me kind of want to enter one more sold put, which I actually just might do right now, straight up, because there's definitely a chance that the bulls kind of keep this around 200 for a little bit. But we'll see. But, you know, the 4 hour is also saying the exact same thing. The daily, however, is saying that, you know what, it's actually getting rejected. So it's a little confusing here, right? Because again, it did come up and it is kind of getting rejected, but it's not getting rejected hard enough, in my opinion. You know, it's almost like it's in limbo, if that makes any sense at all, you know, where it's just like it's kind of not getting rejected, and it's like, is this a real rejection, or is it actually kind of keeping in? Because on the daily it looks like a rejection, on the other time frames it looks like it's actually kind of just barely holding back in, but it is below 200, which isn't great. So you can see this, you know, pretty obvious rejection from 200. So it's a bit of an interesting situation here, right? So it's hard to say for sure what's gonna, you know, the short term will bring us, and, you know, where it's actually gonna lead, you know, Tesla. So with that being said, I want to quickly actually sell one cash here right before the market closes. Also get some of that theta decay over the weekend. I'm pretty much going to re-enter the same position that I exited at 199, and I re-enter it here, which essentially will pretty much make it more or less the exact same position in terms of the, you know, what it's worth, if you will. Pretty much the exact same thing. Let me just double check this really quick. I will actually, no, one of them I exited is phenomenally down, so that was a fantastic exit. That's still great, but I wanted this one instead. So I want to, apologies for this, the market is about to close. I want to make sure I place in this order before the market does close, just to make sure that I have this, you know, order and whatnot. Boom, get that real quick. Pretty much buying back for what I sold it for. But the reason I'm doing it is mainly because there's definitely a chance that, you know, it actually rallies one more time to the top part of this and just above 200 and actually goes for the gap fill, right? And that's based on the close and what it looks like it'll close. To me, this tells me that the bulls are putting a bit more of a fight than I expected, and that, you know, going up to this gap fill at pretty much 203 is a very real possibility. Doesn't mean it has to, doesn't mean it will, but, you know, it's absolutely a possibility. Whether it actually happens or not, it's fine. I already exited, again, most of my sold puts. I'm now I have 2, I guess, now, rather than 4 before. So, you know, but, you know, on the off chance that we do that, you know, I want to kind of play that. So on top of that, if you go over to the 21 EMA, you can see we are back above it. Yesterday we fell below and got rejected. Now we actually came back down to it and got pushed up from it, which is a good sign to see as well. So it's the bulls are fighting. The bulls are absolutely fighting. I still think it's a losing battle, I'll be honest. It's just, this is to me more of a matter of what does the short term bring. Like, does the short term bring us a little bit more of a rally up to like this gap fill maybe, you know, 2 or 3-ish, or does it just completely reject from here and then Monday we just completely fall from there, right? Absolutely real possibility, which is why I still have a lot more, you know, cash essentially to sell substantially more sold puts if I need to, which, you know, I most likely will sometime next week. I do expect it to happen. But if we do go up to this level over here on the gap fill, I will buy back that sold put I just placed the order on once it happens, potentially on Monday, which is, you know, it's possible. So other than that, though, right, you know, if we go in the daily, you can see the bearish divergence is still very clear, you know, just constantly making lower lows, lower highs in the bearish divergence, while the stock is essentially going sideways, if not earlier back here was obviously completely going up, right? And that's when the bearish divergence started to form, and now it's kind of going sideways-ish in this general time frame, while this is extremely obviously making lower lows and lower highs, right? That's still playing out as per usual. And, you know, we are, of course, closing below 200, which isn't ideal. You know, 197 is a little bit lower than of a close than I want to see. You can see it is peeking its head back down underneath this general area now. So, you know, it's absolutely dancing on thin ice. You know, where does this actually lead? you know, it's a tough one, guys. It's a tough one. This is definitely this is one of those movements that I look at and I'm thinking, yeah, you know what? This is where bears and bulls that are buying options or just, you know, trading maybe even are definitely getting trapped both ways, you know, here and there. So just keep that in mind, right? That's kind of what it seems like the market is trying to do. So just, you know, you don't want to get trapped by that too much, right? But other than that, from what I said on Tesla the other days, there's not much more to update really, right? I mean, again, you know, once this rejection most likely happens, and, you know, from this level, we do continue going down, which I still strongly believe will happen. You know, again, you know, my main price target is coming down to around 160 to as low as this gap fill at 145. That's my main level I'm personally looking for. You know, taking a look at, let's say, the 3 hour, you can see the bearish divergence. It's just so crystal clear, man, right? You know, you can argue that the bearish divergence is technically falling apart now because of this move here. That's not like a real bearish divergence, I guess. Not really falling apart, but it's not a real bearish divergence anymore. But I personally still think it is, especially considering like all the way back here, it absolutely is and was, right? The 1 hour, you can see more or less the same concept, right? Tesla ultimately still looking more bearish than bullish in my opinion. Going over to SPY very quickly, because this does or can rather influence Tesla. Not always, though. We've had many times where Tesla just did essentially the opposite of the market, quite literally for like a week straight. But nonetheless, SPY did get a massive recovery, bounced off the red line, which is this overall trend line that we were down from the all-time highs. It actually bounced right off of it, which is interesting enough from yesterday. Pretty massive rally too, so a lot of bears got trapped here for sure. And now we'll see where this actually takes us and how much it's going to affect Tesla, right? I wouldn't be surprised if SPY potentially goes up to even as high as like 408 in all honesty, which isn't that much higher from here. It's only like 4 points, but you know, even those 4 points, right, that's a percent move, which for Tesla can, you know, be an easy 2 to 3%, you know, move to the upside, assuming it actually follows the market, which, you know, Tesla tends to not always want to do, which will be another, yeah, pretty much exactly the move that it takes to gap fill more or less to this 203-ish level, if possible, of course, right? But ultimately, the daily does look a little bit less convincing for the bullish side. It does look like it got a just straight up rejection from this downtrend that it broke down under. But again, the 1 hour, you know, the 2 hour, the 3 hour look a little bit more convincing for the bulls. There's a little bit more of a, you know, argument to be made for the bulls. So we'll see where it takes us, guys. The week, of course, has officially closed, and the candle is still looking extremely suspicious, right? You know, we had a pretty bearish looking candle over here. The red one was an inside day entirely. This one wasn't an inside day, but the actual candle with itself, you know, the actual like candle, like literal candle itself, is still within the parameters. Not really an inside day candle because it did break outside of both these candles ranges, so it's not that. This candle doesn't mean that much to me. This just tells me it's consolidation and that a big move is most likely building up, right? If we go over to the Bollinger Band, we talked about this yesterday, how I said it seems like this move yesterday that we had wasn't really the big move potentially. Well, I still stand by that, mainly because number one, Tesla did rally back up as, you know, more or less expected, which even further makes this consolidation phase kind of still last a bit longer than, you know, than potentially maybe people thought from back here when this move was made yesterday. But on top of that, you can see the Bollinger Band is still kind of, you know, closing together slowly but surely, which to me once again tells me that the big move is still not happened yet and that it is coming. Again, could technically be to the upside. I'm not completely, you know, removing that possibility. I just think it's substantially less likely. It's like a maybe 20% at best, and like an 80% chance that this is going to be a move to the downside once this Bollinger Band finally, you know, breaks, if you will, and this tightness finally explodes to one side, which again I do believe is to be the downside, pretty much down to about 160-ish level. So that's more or less what I'm seeing, guys. Thank you so much for watching. That's it for the video. If you enjoyed the video, of course, find it useful, helpful, informative, don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. Peace.